I'm Ashley Dvorkin with Fox411.com movie reviewer Justin Craig, and this week we discuss Peter Jackson's latest epic movie offering, The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. So Justin, remind us where this story picks up.
It's still the same story that we've been following for the past 2 years since The Hobbit began, because the book, it's just one book that Peter Jackson, and New Line and Warner Brothers decided to split into 3 movies for, greed, and which is a big mistake. This should really just be one 3-hour film instead of 3 3-hour films. It's excessive, and
it's a commitment.
So the second film ends with Smaug the dragon going off to destroy this town, and this movie starts right, at mid-flight as he's off to go kill destroy this town. So it just picks up right where the last one left off. And this is probably the biggest disappointment in all of these Lord of the Rings films. I mean, these films we've been with Lord of the Rings and Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings for almost 15 years now. And, it started with such a huge bang back in 2001. And I think here it ends with a whimper, because this is the weakest of the entire saga.
Is that because of the story? You feel there wasn't as much of a story left for this film?
The source material by J.R.R. Tolkien is weak in itself. So spreading it out over 3 films, 3 hours each almost, it's just masturbatory on Peter Jackson's side. There's no reason for it whatsoever, and it really hurts the story, what substance there is.
Let's talk about the look of the film, because I know that the scope of these films, I mean, they're huge. And then in addition, we have a different kind of frame per second that we saw in the last one. So the look of these films is very much discussed.
With the first Hobbit that came out 2 years ago, they introduced this high frame rate, which is 48 frames per second. So that caused a big stink back then. It didn't look good then. It's like watching a soap opera or watching a behind-the-scenes video of the film instead of actually watching, what you're naturally used to seeing in movies. It just looks like you're on set with the actors standing next to the camera watching them all walk around. They claim that it's more true to life, but I think the entire cinematic experience is lost. Everything looks so fake. It looks really fake, and it's very distracting, and I can't stand it. And, directors like Peter Jackson and James Cameron. I think James Cameron is a better technical director than Peter Jackson, so he might pull this off better with the next Avatar films, which he claims he's going to do.
Right.
They say that this is the feature of film, and that pisses me off. I don't want this to be the feature film, because I just don't think it looks very good, and it's very distracting.
And what about the performances, standout performances from either newer cast members or returning cast members?
You have some returning cast members from the earlier Lord of the Rings films. Of course, Ian McKellen. You have Cate Blanchett and Christopher Lee joining us again. Martin Freeman plays Bilbo Baggins, who's the star of these 3 Hobbit films, but they should just rename this Hobbit series called The Hobbit, and in parentheses, who does nothing, because he really doesn't do anything in this entire story. There's no purpose for the main character in this Hobbit series. It's such a bizarre situation.
Okay, well, so you've spoken about how it sort of compares to the other films, but the other films they're box office success stories.
Yeah, and
so do you think this will be?
I mean, absolutely, it'll be a huge success, because there are so many fans of this franchise that just them alone will give it a lot of money. But this film is just one long battle sequence from beginning to end. It's a 2.5-hour film, and it's the final battle of the story in one film, and it's just the same thing over and over again. It's a character who looks like they're just about to be impaled by a sword. The audio drops down. Oh my God, are they going to get killed? And then, somebody from behind stops them from being killed, and the music comes up, and then it goes on and does it again for another 2 hours. So
wow,
that's it. That's this film.
That's this film. Well, I always ask you if you'll recommend it. So let's put it this way. Would you recommend it for those who have invested their time in the rest of the franchise?
You have to. I mean, you can't just leave it at the last film.
Right.
It's incomplete. And, thanks Peter Jackson for doing that and not making it one movie. Now we have to sit through this one too. And it's such a disappointment.
And now we have to wait and see what his next project is going to be, because this took
He should go
How many
back to
years?
his roots. He needs to make a smaller film, you know, with a better story. And, you know, he turned into George Lucas. He really did. He got so much money, and he tried to just make everything as, you know, flamboyant as possible. And he just tinkered with everything, and he can't stop tinkering with stuff. And now it's just, he just made a mess.
Yeah. It's also this epic saga, the end of it. Thank you so much, Justin.
Yeah, no problem.
And of course, if you want to see Justin's full review, go to fox411.com and comment and tweet us at fox411. Let us know your thoughts on this and all of the week's new films. As always, thanks so much for joining us.